Brittany's unmute.
Welcome, Greg. And Spry, you have a guest today.
Are we talking about Dr. Gimple? Yeah. We know Dr. Gimple. Stand up again. He's been here several times and has turned in his application. Doctor?
Hey. Wonderful. Glad to have you here, Dr. Gimple. Joni Underwood, you have a guest today. Welcome, Marge. And Carol Wheeler, you have a guest today. Hello, Jennifer. Yes, we will have a board meeting next Tuesday at 4 o'clock where we will be voting on all of our prospective members. So excited to have you here, and we are just thrilled that you want to join this very auspicious club. So as I said, the more the merrier. We are really focused on fellowship and making a difference, and so I'm so honored you're here today, and just wait for next Tuesday because we're going to get ready to vote. Just a couple of other announcements. As I mentioned previously, we'll be recognizing several Paul Harris recipients over the next few club meetings. So I will be reaching out to you and kind of scheduling which club meeting works best for you, but we'll be starting to do that. We have several recipients, so it'll be a wonderful opportunity to recognize you as a Paul Harris recipient. At your table is the Rotary Cup, and we are still collecting funds for our local charities. So please give generously. We are building up our funds again to be able to make some distributions to our local community groups, and just a wonderful way to be able to give back to the community. The Rotarian Reconnecting team has been making some wonderful phone calls and has been connecting with your various club members. And so thank you, team, who are making those phone calls, and just letting anybody who hasn't been able to join us either over Zoom or in person for whatever reason feel connected back with our clubs. So thank you very much. As you recall, Steve Knoll, Anita Wolgast, Kirk Johnson, Joni Underwood, and Grace Morrison are part of that team. And again, the more is the merrier. If you are interested and you would like to make a few phone calls, you have a little time to do that, please reach out to any one of those people and we will add you to that list. Stan, I never get to do this. We have some election results. So thank you for everybody who voted. Stan, would you like to come and speak?
Well, my last official duty was chairing the nominating committee, and very excited to tell you that the slate of officers and directors for our club has been approved. And let me go through those. President Steve Knoll, President-elect Vince Fry, the Vice President Program Chair, Zach Ahrens, Secretary Colleen Jameson, Treasurer John Wall, Sergeant at Arms Bob Clausen. Karen Streeter will be re-upping on the board for a 3-year term. Michael Dupatan will be on the board for a 3-year term, and Susan Alexander will be on the board for a 3-year term. In the Rotary Foundation, that slate was approved. Scott Teeter and Angel Zimmerman will be in their first term, although Scott's been on before. And Bob Clausen is re-upping for a 2nd term. And the nominee, per the bylaws, the president-elect, and who else? Oh, the immediate past president is the chair. So Marie will chair the nominating committee next year, and it'll have Steve Knoll and Vince Fry on it. And then per the bylaws, 2 out of the last 5 past presidents are voted on. And the additional people that will be on that are Grace Morrison and yours truly. So thank you very much.
So I handed him the results, pulled it over, and said, "You're not allowed to look until you get up here." Because both Stan and Grace were both sitting at the same table. Thank you again to everybody who it continues to come in wearing your mask. It's very much appreciated. The numbers still seem to be sitting at the same number every week, so I very much appreciate that. And so we want to make sure that everybody feels safe. And I have heard that there are some prospective members who, until we get to a stage that we either are not wearing masks or they're assured that we're all wearing masks all the time, they're not comfortable joining, but maybe I can get them on Zoom. So anyway, yes, Anne. So when you leave for today, if you feel like walking through the other way, please do so. This is a beautiful day to be outside. I'm going to be introducing our speakers today. Under full disclosure, I will tell you, if I can get my I am part of the Topeka Collegiate Board. So I'm very, very honored to be able to introduce our 2 speakers. Dr. Lynn Rantz is the head of school at Topeka Collegiate, the only independent school in the Topeka area, serving students in pre-kindergarten through 8th grade. Dr. Rantz is a veteran school administrator, bringing nearly 20 years of experience in school administration to Topeka Collegiate. Prior to serving as the Topeka Collegiate head of school, Lynn was the superintendent of USD 464 in Tonganoxie and worked in the Blue Valley District for 13 years. She is an active member of Topeka South. She's on the Kindergarten Readiness Task Force and the College and Career Pathway Task Force and the Chamber of Commerce. She serves on the Stormont Vale Foundation and is a graduate of the 2018 Leadership Greater Topeka. She was recently recognized as a 2021 Woman of Excellence by the YWCA for her leadership. She is joined by Brittany Stifler Crabtree. I would just call you Brittany Carroll, sorry. Who has a passion for helping people connect and communicate with one another. She's worked to increase youth empowerment, local support of the arts, quality of care for elders, and multi-generational, and is involved in multi-generational volunteerism. She has served at the local, state, and federal levels to promote public service, civic engagement, through the Kansas Leadership Center, and we have sent people to Kansas Leadership Center. She currently serves as the Director of Communications and Special Projects for Topeka Collegiate with Lynn. And so please welcome Dr. Rantz and Brittany Crabtree.
Good afternoon. It is good. So good to see you all. Thank you for letting us come and visit with you. And I will tell you, this is my first time in this space. What a beautiful, beautiful space you have to be able to have your Rotary meetings each week. I am a member of the Topeka South Rotary, and I've always wondered about who you all are. So it's so great to see so many familiar and friendly faces. I recognize many of you in various capacities. We're very excited to be here and talk to you about Topeka Collegiate. I have been a member of the school. This is my 6th year. And prior to coming to Topeka Collegiate, I was in public school service for 20 years throughout the state of Kansas. 13 of those years was a principal in the Blue Valley School District. And I have found that coming to Topeka Collegiate and being a member of this community has just fulfilled all of the dreams I'd had, because it's such an amazing, amazing location, place, community. So it's been really exciting. to be on the journey with this very small school. So we put together a PowerPoint for you. Let me just make sure I am following along. We brought just some general photos to share to kind of give you a glimpse of what the school is all about. I would like first to ask, raise your hand if you yourself have, or a parent of a current or previous student at Topeka Collegiate. Raise your hand. Let's look around. There are friends in the room. So we have about a half a dozen in the room that were current or former friends. If you've been to an event at Topeka Collegiate, would you raise your hand? Okay, about most of the room. Good. If you've never heard of Topeka Collegiate, would you raise your hand? Okay, good. So like I said, that's good. Like I said, I came to Collegiate because of this. I came to Topeka because of the job. I moved here. We moved our family here. I've been in this county for 6 years, and it has just become home for us. My husband and I have 3 children. My oldest is a freshman at K-State. Yeah. He's a business major playing for the baseball team. So when you get to spring semester, he may not be playing, but he's in a uniform somewhere. And then my daughter is a junior at Shawnee Heights High School. And my youngest is a freshman at Shawnee Heights High School. And 2 of my 3 kids went through collegiate with me. They went through school, they graduated, are now in high school. So I am a parent as well as the head of school, and it has been really an eye-opener to be a parent of both a public and a private school education. I mean, to kind of see the results of those. But yeah, I earned my bachelor's from Graceland University. Probably not many have heard of Graceland, small school in Iowa. Got my master's at Pitt State down at Pittsburgh, Kansas, and then my doctorate at St. Louis University over in St. Louis. So one of the things that I think is really important to understand about Topeka Collegiate School is that we are the only independent school in the county. And when I say independent, I mean, yes, we are private. We're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, but we are truly independent. We are not associated with any other organization, religious affiliation, nothing. We are truly independent. So between the board and their vision of the school, the staff, the leadership team, and the students and the families, we determine what is taught, how it's taught, and the experiences that the students have. We alone make those decisions. We do go through a full accreditation process. That's a 7-year cycle. So we're fully accredited by ISACs, and we are members of multiple national organizations for independent schools. But we are the only non-faith-based independent accredited school in the county. And I think that's really important to understand, that we're not associated with any other schools. We currently serve students starting at the age of 4, and we go through 8th grade. We graduate students into the public schools of Shawnee County. We feel like we feed them. That's how I think of them. We are preparing them for all of the experiences and challenges and opportunities for their future. And then they graduate at 8th grade and go on to high schools across the county and across the country. About 40% of our students go on to Topeka High School. About 40% go on to Washburn Rural High School. And the remaining 20% either go to boarding schools, preparatory schools, Hayden, Shawnee Heights, Seaman, other schools around the region. But we are not affiliated with any one particular high school. We currently have 143 students, and we have 40 total staff. When I talk to new families, I say, when you come to our campus, you become a part of our family. I always joke that I can sit in my office and I have blinds that come down about 3 feet tall from my windowsill, and I can see parents walking in because they come in every morning and drop off their children. Or at the end of the day, they come in and pick up their children every single day from a classroom door. But I can say, as they walk the sidewalk, I know who they are by their shoes and the lower half of their jeans, because we get to know them so well. I know Todd, and I can tell you all about Todd's kids. I can tell you all about Deborah's kids who are alums. I can tell you about all the families that we've had because we are a community. We always say, once you're an Eagle, you're always an Eagle. And it is a true community when you join our small school. One of the things that has been really important since the founding of our school in 1982 by a group of families in Topeka that wanted something just a little bit different for their own kids, the Garlinghouse family, the Elmer family, and the Fink family, was that they wanted a strong liberal arts program that every child could be challenged and confidently prepared for the future. So one of the things that makes us so unique is that every single student starting in pre-K has multiple teachers working with them every day. So we have a science teacher that is working with pre-K kids all the way through 8th grade throughout the week. We have a music specialist, an arts specialist, a physical education teacher. We have a technology teacher, and we have Spanish. So children starting at the age of 4 all the way through middle school are getting all of those experiences and deep levels of curriculum, in addition to math and reading and writing. So we always celebrate that we really hire teachers because they're specialists and they're passionate about the curriculum that they want the kids to be exposed to and be fluent in. So those are the things I wanted to share very quickly. We are so excited. Our board has recently undergone a long process of developing a new strategic plan. And so no better person to talk about the strategic plan than our director of special projects, Brittany, who this is just one of many hats that she wears. So I'm asking her to come along and share with you our strategic plan. It will set the course for our next 5 years. We're pretty excited about it, and we have some pretty neat projects that are going to come out from the pillars and the priorities that we've set. So Brittany, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I grabbed my phone to make sure that I could keep track of time because I'm a little bit excited about this presentation. There's only been so many to give in person over the past couple of years, and a lot has happened. So I'm excited to be here to catch you up on that. I was reflecting this morning, the last time I spoke to downtown Rotary was at the Ramada. Thank goodness I got the memo, it's here now. What a beautiful location. And it was when I was the executive director of the Kansas Volunteer Commission, and I shared a lot of data around volunteerism and what motivates people to volunteer. So it's interesting. I'm going to share a strategic plan with you today that I'm so excited about, but I decided I wanted to share data, that the data that we collected to get to the strategic plan, because there's no better introduction, I think, to Topeka Collegiate to just see the numbers. It's very transparent, it's very educational, and I think it'll be a little bit more interesting than getting in the weeds on the strategic plan. However, there is some I really want to cover. Really quick, check out that logo. Topeka Collegiate is proud to be a part of the Topeka community, and I want to say that loud and clear. I know Topeka, Lynn said it too, but we recently came up with another version of our logo, embracing the new Topeka flag, and we're really excited for just be selling some spirit wear. So I want to sneak that in here and say thanks for the invitation to present. Also, this is our Eagles 360 logo. And when I think about talking about the strategic plan, I want to tell you that we are a school that has tried to figure out how to stay kids on campus learning healthy and safe through this pandemic. And we did it. Our school was open. We understand that we are so much smaller. And so we had the ability to space students. We had the ability to make some changes. We're just agile as a small school. And so we really, our hearts went out to all the schools as they made these hard decisions. Our decision was Eagles 360, and we were able to stay open all last school year, except for the 14 days between Thanksgiving and winter break, as we made some adjustments. All of our students and staff have taken a pledge to keep one another safe. And if you would like links to any of this, I can share after. But we all held up our hands at the beginning of the school year, and we said, this is what I'll do to protect myself. This is what I'll do to protect others. And this is what I'll do to protect the Eagles community. And this gives you an idea of the culture that we have at the school for one another, and just to make sure that we're all learning. That is the goal, is that academic excellence. Here's just one more fun photo from this wild ride we've been on the last couple of years. You can see a percentage of our students had the option to learn online, and they could give us 3 days notice to be remote or on campus, and any family could switch at any time. And so you can see some students were on campus playing with blocks in pre-kindergarten, and they put the laptop right there for their buddy to join and play blocks too. So we've just really had to get creative. Part of that creativity then led into, our 40th anniversaries next year. And we've got to look at the next 40 years. And part of that process is always looking at our strategic plan. So we wrapped up our last strategic plan and it was time. And so this school year is 2021 to 2022. That's why the strategic plan really says 2022. That's like education talk. I'm new to it. That's what that means, 2022 to 2026. And this is a strategy map, which I'm a nerd about. So strategy maps is a way for you to look at a strategic plan at a glance and kind of get the whole picture in one picture. So on the left side, this really represents the 3 pillars of our new strategic plan. So in yellow on the left side, that icon represents educate, right? First and foremost, our pillar of educate. On the right side, the blue, that little person, that represents connect and our intent to create community as a school. And then in the middle, I love how yellow and blue make green for sustain, which is really the long-term sustainability of being an independent school with no, we don't have that government funding, we don't have that religious funding. And so we exist because Topekans choose Topeka Collegiate. And that's an important dynamic. So we have to talk about that sustainability. So part of updating the strategic plan was updating our mission statement. This is very similar to our last mission statement, except I highlighted 2 words. So our mission is to inspire and prepare every student, I think I left out, to have a successful future through academic excellence, active citizenship, and humanitarian ideals. It used to say successful careers, and we collected input from over 200 individuals. We had in-person sessions, virtual sessions, and realized that careers has a connotation to it that may be too narrow for today's world. And so we broadened that to future because there's so many different futures that are hard to define in today's times. And then also, we talked about citizenship in our previous mission statement, but it was important for us to add the word active as we teach students the importance of staying active in their citizenship throughout their lives. We're really proud of the mission statement and feel like it points us in the right direction moving forward. New to our strategic plan, new to our school, is the concept of value statements. So another way as we continue to build our community is to put these values in writing. So I'll go ahead and read them to you in case they're too small up there. We value and support the uniqueness of every individual in our school community. We value a solutions-oriented approach to academic excellence through critical thinking, creativity, and a lifelong love of learning. We value a nurturing environment that fosters compassion, curiosity, collaboration, integrity, individuality, and inclusivity. We value bold and thoughtful humanitarianism rooted in citizenship, service to others, and social responsibility. And we value our independent school autonomy and agility to customize vibrant programming for the benefit of every student. In some ways, I feel like, all right, you got our values, I'm done, right? Because I really feel like our teachers and our parents and our community came together to define who we were in these value statements. And it's really exciting to see the teachers working on each of these statements right now to look at how it's integrated through all their curriculum. So the strategic plan, we talked about the yellow and blue make green. Well, that breaks down into these 3 pillars. So to provide an unparalleled foundational education, to ensure a strong future through strategic investments, and to foster an inclusive and supportive community. And this is really the level of the strategic plan that I think I'll stop today in the interest of time. However, I have all the priorities, and there's 3 priorities under every pillar, and then we have action steps that the board is actively working through with the accountability portion. And this kind of structure, as you know, is so critical to an organization, and we are taking the time to make sure that we're set for the next 40 years, and particularly the next 5 in the strategic plan. I did bring copies if anybody needs it after the presentation. Inside the strategic plan, each pillar has a page, and on the left side, and I know the font is too tiny, you'll see the priorities, and we're not going to get into that right now. But on the right, you'll see all this data. And I'm just really excited to share some of this data with you today. So we looked at what is the current, just the facts, when we talk about educating our students. One thing that we wanted to make sure everybody knew it when they looked at our strategic plan is we have a 1-to-8 teacher to student ratio. Another fact, we have 237 years of collective teaching experience at Topeka Collegiate. Teachers come to Topeka Collegiate because they know they'll have the autonomy, the smaller classrooms, and they bring all that breadth of knowledge with them. We're so lucky to have that much experience of teaching in the building. Then as we started to look at sustainability, for example, we needed to get some other facts on the table. Our main school building was built in 1953. We were at a different location as Shawnee Country Day School previously, and Topeka Collegiate, under our new name, we purchased the building in 1996. We're on 8 acres. So we have a lot of green space to think about how we utilize. And in fact, during the pandemic, every teacher, it's interesting what innovation was created. Every teacher was assigned a tree, basically. This is the best way I can say it. A map was created and students and teachers went outside as much as possible, weather permitting, on our 8-acre campus to learn. We used whiteboards and towels to sit on, and it's really changed the school day because we can still use that campus forevermore in that new way. So then also, as we talk about educate, we pulled the data on our alumni. And while our alumni, I'm going to slow down on this one because I think this is one of the reasons when I was with Jones Hewitt Partners and had the opportunity to conduct focus groups on behalf of Jones Hewitt Partners with Topeka Collegiate. This is one of the things that really brought me to Topeka Collegiate, this kind of data. So while our alumni represent less than 2% of the student population in Topeka, less than 2%, we recognize we're small and we want to be. They are well represented among the county's National Merit Scholars. So in 2019, our alums may be only 2%, but when they're in high school and they're recognized as National Merit Scholars, in 2019, 20% of our county's Merit Scholars were Topeka Collegiate grads back in 8th grade. In 2020, that went up to 57% of our National Merit Scholars in Shawnee County. They were Topeka Collegiate alums, and in 2021, 25%. So when Lynn talks about being a feeder school to all the schools in town, we believe that. And again, I think it's amazing that the high schools come and present to our students, kind of like colleges recruit high school students. The high schools come and recruit from our students, which says a lot about what we're learning at Topeka Collegiate. We also have a term at Topeka Collegiate called Beyond the Book. And it's one of the things we want to keep an eye on moving forward because it's a powerful way of learning, hands-on experiences beyond the book. So we calculated how much time in the school day, hour by hour, every student is learning. And on average, students spend 42% of their time in experiential learning. And that goes back to those resource classes. And then of course, core curriculum is also important there too, keeping that balance. Tuition versus cost. Topeka Collegiate does charge tuition. We do have financial aid, but it is important for us to keep an eye on that orange gap. So it is amazing how much it costs per student, especially with that student to teacher ratio. I mean, you saw we have 40 staff, 140 students. That's when we talk about that gap. It's something that we have to keep an eye on how we make sure to provide the best education possible in Shawnee County and maintain that independence. And we're doing it. And that's thanks to families choosing Topeka Collegiate. Actual expenses, 67% of that revenue goes to wages, salaries, and benefits. When you look at the next line item there, student programming comes in second. Diversity, I'll share under that connect pillar. We realized we needed, we wanted to get a better handle. What is our diversity of our school? Because parents are always looking for that diversity. I was in admissions, gave those tours, and they were always pleased to see the diversity in the classroom. We have it. And that's something that maybe folks don't know about Topeka Collegiate. So when we look at the data then, we also realized we needed to collect better data. So actually this shows in the strategic plan, but we're really excited about the changes we'll make to application forms because our categories don't match the census and obviously the data that comes out of the system is only as good as what you put in. Parent volunteerism at Topeka Collegiate is 52%. Student volunteerism, it depends on what age you're talking to. So 69% of middle school students volunteer, 100% of our younger students volunteer. That's really because we bring civic engagement into the classroom with our younger ones, and then our middle school students have the opportunity to go out and volunteer too. I don't know if you're familiar with social emotional learning. I was not, SEL, but it is utilized by all the teachers at Topeka Collegiate. And you can see the areas that our students are learning in addition to the core curriculum and beyond the book pieces. So important today, especially as we all manage post-pandemic. So that is my overview of Topeka Collegiate and our new strategic plan. And like I said, I brought copies of the strategic plan. I'm happy to share links. But in summary, I would just say this is an exciting time for Topeka Collegiate. The strategic plan process brought together voices that have been a part of the school over the last 40 years, brought together newer voices that'll help plan the future for the next 40. But those of you that have a former connection to the school, I encourage you to reach out to Lynn or myself if you want to be a part of that momentum. It's a really exciting time to now not just have a pretty strategic plan, but follow through with implementation and make sure that we're doing everything we can to educate, connect, and sustain just one of the options in Topeka. We meet with the Greater Topeka Partnership and we talk about how choice is part of our economy of Topeka. That some folks, when they move here, are looking for public schools, absolutely. Others are looking for a religious school, absolutely. Others need an independent school. And choice in this context of the economy is beneficial to recruiting doctors to Topeka. It's beneficial to recruiting certain positions. And so it's certainly, as someone who's a public school champion that's worked in state and federal government, it is possible to have that intersection of saying, I support this grassroots school that started 40 years ago, and I also support the broader community. And that's exactly why I wanted to share our new logo of the Topeka flag with you today, because it's a great example of how we're proud to be a part of Topeka. What questions do you have about Topeka Collegiate? Yes. Yes, thank you. Lynn is great on the operations questions. Can I do that one? Sorry.
My apologies. My apologies. We are, because of our curriculum and the way that we establish our programming, I would say our curriculum is a good year, if not 2 years ahead, and it's a pretty, it's a faster paced curriculum. Our expectation that all students would go into honors geometry when they go into high school, they all go into honors Spanish 2 when they go into high school. So because of that pacing, we do know that students have to be at grade level or above to have successful acclimation to the school. Unfortunately, we are not able to provide special programming. We don't do specialized services. So a lot of times when kids come in, we want to make sure that they're going to be the right fit and their family's the right fit. It requires parents to help them with homework. We require history day. We require science day research. So we do assessment. And when families come in, we say to them, you are maybe wanting to choose us. We need to be able to choose you because it's going to be a fit. And there's a school for everyone in Shawnee County, and we are a unique school, but we're not necessarily going to be able to accommodate all needs of every student. So we do an accommodation or an assessment as they come in. We talk to their teachers if they're already in school, and we evaluate if they're a good fit for us and if we are a good fit for them. So our demand, we are at 145. We can be larger. We hope to grow but not by a significant amount. We used to be back in our 20 years ago, Topeka Collegiate was over 300. And with the Great Recession of 2008, and when Meningers left the area, our the enrollment dropped, and we have no desire to be back at that level again. So we don't admit everyone that applies. We evaluate as they come in, and we make a decision, and we help them find the right school if we're not the right school for them. We do have pretty good partnerships with Care Paravel and the parochial schools. If we have a family that comes in and is looking for something else that we're not able to provide, I'll reach out to Melody at Care Paravel, or the admissions folks will talk, because we want to make sure we find the right school for every child and every family, because we are unique. We do not provide any transportation. So a lot of times families will come in and they'll say, oh, you don't have a bus? Nope, we don't have a bus. So automatically they'll go and look at other places. So we're very unique. We're small on design. And we find families that join us as a family and become part of the community. Yeah. Yes, yes. So yeah, Tim and Jet's daughters both went to Collegiate, and yes, she is back. And we have quite a few legacy families now. We're old enough now, we're 40 as a school, old enough, that we have a number of second generation. So we have Kathleen Height's daughter is in our school. We have the Elmer's granddaughter. They started the school, their granddaughter's in the school. We have Greg Schwartz's grandson is now in our school, and his daughter went to our school. I'm trying to think of some others. I'll think about others, but yeah, that's pretty powerful to have the generational look coming in when you turn 40. That can start to happen. Yeah, yes. Well, obviously, it would give parents who may not have any financial means more opportunity to look at schools of choice. I mean, anytime you have a voucher program, you're going to allow them the opportunity to not just send their dollars to the public school where they live, but to any private institution. We currently partner with ACE scholarships out of Denver, and we do have some ACE scholars. ACE scholarship is very difficult to qualify for. The families have to be on free lunch program. They have to be in one of the top, or I guess it's the bottom 100 schools that are ranked in the state of Kansas, and Topeka has a few of those. So we currently have a half a dozen students that are able to qualify, and they come to our school and they're on an ACE scholarship. So the way that works is the institution gets donations. The institution gives the money to the school, and it's a tax credit for the institution and the donor. So it's a win-win for everyone, and ACE works with multiple states throughout the Midwest. But it's very difficult to qualify because we have to find students, their families are below the poverty level. And they are in a region of Topeka that they live that is in the poorest, least performing schools. And every year we seek them out and we find them. We work with parents as teachers and find those kids and those families. That education is so important. And the kids that we've had have been there for years. And it is amazing to see them. And I will tell you, last year, not last year, but the year before, those were the students that had perfect attendance. Those are the students that had perfect attendance. Those families that sacrificed so much and had to physically find a way to get their kids across town to bring them to school. And they are just the highlight. When they come in, they're full of hugs, and they know education's changing their life because they're able to make that choice. But vouchers absolutely would be a benefit to a lot of families that can't otherwise access our school. We are expensive. We are by far the most expensive school in the region. I mean, all independent schools are, because we're hiring qualified teachers and paying them a lot of value. I mean, they're committing themselves. almost 50% of our families get financial aid. We believe it's that important. If we find the right family and the right kid that wants to learn and has a joy of learning, we'll figure out a way to help them be there. But most of our teachers come not for the salary, but they come because of the joy of teaching in a classroom with lots of freedoms and of opportunities to kind of be their very best self. That should be the next time we come, let's just talk about that. Topeka Collegiate really believes being active citizenship, you need to study tough history. And so we don't back away from it, but we make sure it's age appropriate. We make sure parents are partnering with us on those conversations. But we believe in active citizenship, that you have to be able to have tough conversations, and you have to be in a trusting environment to have those conversations. So we study tough novels in our middle school. We don't do it in isolation. It is in context to studying history, and it's in context of studying rights and how the battles have come over years, and there's still work to do. And I would say we don't have parents that complain to us. They might be concerned, but they visit with the teacher and they have a trusting relationship. They know what the outcomes are and that every voice is going to be heard. We teach some of the same tough books that are currently in the media, but we do it in a very supportive environment. And if parents aren't ready for that, they're able to opt out, but they're still going to learn tough history in a very supportive environment. But we're a small enough school. So when we know something might be coming up, I just call the parent. Hey, this is coming up. I want to hear what your concerns are. What can we do to make sure we go through this together? And that's part of the value of being in such a small community. Our librarian is a volunteer librarian, Kimberly Spotty. So she works all week and she comes every Tuesday and volunteers her time to work with kids, and she studies different types of books. We have a lot of volunteers that help us. And so I just say that because it's such a close community that the parents are a key part of the experience. It is an amazing place to see kids be so supported and inspired. So when they leave us and they're going on to high school, they are so confident that they're not afraid of any challenges that are going to come their way, whether it's in the society, community, or in this school itself.
Thank you very much, Lynn and Brittany. That was wonderful. And I truly do, I truly do love Topeka Collegiate. And as you all probably know, my husband is was a physics teacher at Washburn Rural. And so there's a great partnership between the independent schools and public schools. Lynn and Brittany, sign this book. This is what we do as our thank you. We have you sign the book, and we will give this to Ross Elementary to add back into their collection. So please, before you leave. Okay. So our next meeting on November 18th will be with Jonathan Sublett from Scent. And so we're very excited to have Jonathan come and speak. So with that, please stand for the four-way test. Of the things we say or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be fun and kind? Thank you very much for coming, and please commemorate Veterans Day today. It's a very special day. Thank you. How do I go anywhere?